Dennis Shields is the outgoing president of the Southern University system. Shields has led the HBCU since 2022. He was as shocked as many when he learned the SU Board of Supervisors wanted to go in another direction to lead the university system. Shields agreed to sit down with me for a wide-ranging interview about his tenure as president, what's next for him, and his undefeated record in the Bayou Classic. President Shields, appreciate your time today.
Good morning.
Thank you
Glad to be here.
taking up some of your day, and I'll get right into it. Why are you soon to be no longer the president of Southern University system?
Well, as I've said before, just at Southern University and all the universities, public universities in Louisiana, the presidents serve at the pleasure of the board, and the board has decided they'd like to go in a different direction, which is their prerogative, and so they're going to go in a different direction.
What does that mean to you when you hear different direction? I know for alumni, that means a lot of different things. I know some alumni were not happy with the decision, but when you hear that different direction, what does that mean to you?
Well, I think they want a president that is a better fit with the board and can still achieve the objectives and the mission of the institution. And in their judgment, they think they need a different person to do that.
Mm-hmm. When did you learn that the board was going, quote unquote, going in a different direction? How long ago was that?
Oh, in mid-October.
Okay.
They first approached me, the board leadership first approached me about that.
Mm-hmm. And your initial reaction to that?
The same as what I told you. If the board really wants to go in a different direction, that's their prerogative. And it's not healthy for any aspect of the university for it to get contentious at that point. Mm-hmm. And so then it becomes how does it happen and how do you move forward as an institution?
Mm-hmm. What you've gone before the Louisiana legislature a few times to talk about the financial needs of the university and a system as a whole, not just the Baton Rouge campus, but the system, and making sure they get their due slice of the pie. What challenges do you think the university system, the campus, the law center, whatever the system challenges they face, both economic and financial challenges going forward, and making sure the system is getting what it needs to continue to serve the mission that it was put in place for in the first place?
Well, let's back up and think bigger picture. One of the things I brought to the table is I've been in public higher education in a number of different states: Iowa, Michigan, New York City, Wisconsin. Here's what we know about the investment in public higher education is that as a share of the operating budget of public universities across the country that's come from governmental support, it's been on the decline. Now, that doesn't mean a decline in absolute dollars, but in terms of the share of the operating budget that is state support, that's been declining. So in Louisiana, it's pretty abrupt because until the late 2000s, about 70% of the operating budget came from the state. And now it's at like 30%. And that happened in a very short window. So what needs to happen is an adaptation on the part of higher education. It's to find other revenue streams that drive it, okay? Now, most of that has come from students, okay, and their families because the cost has been passed along to them. And at some point, if it's public higher education, you still want it to be affordable. So it's in that context that I'd talk about it. Now, what we know relative to public land grant institutions, there's been a notion that not just Southern University as a land grant institution, but HBCUs mostly across the board is a standard that they're supposed to be funded at the same level as their counterparts that are public land grants in the state. There's evidence that that hasn't happened in Louisiana and other states, so I'm not beating up Louisiana. And that needs to be addressed. Now, I'm very pragmatic. You can't go back and sort of say, well, give us $1 billion right now. Mm-hmm. And the argument I've been making with the legislature and to the governor's office, which they are amenable to, they need to figure out how to do it, is increase our base funding, our recurring funding, so that we can catch up on that front. But it still doesn't end the need for universities to be more entrepreneurial, to find other revenue streams that are helpful. We're in the midst of the early stages of capital campaign. We need to use our strengths as a research institution to attract revenue from business and industry, that we can do research for them, those sorts of things. Mm-hmm. But the reality of it is that increases in the base funding are definitely a need that Southern University system needs. Mm-hmm.
I know the different revenue streams and different avenues to get money for the university, for the system, for the campuses across the state. The capital campaign, the Give Day, Giving Tuesday, I always forget, Giving Tuesday, I believe is the name. Those are different streams that can be used, right?
And year over year, the philanthropic support that the university has received over the last, during my time here, and actually starting before that, has been increasing. So we've been fortunate that our alumni, business and industry foundations, et cetera, have been increasing their support for the university, and it's on a good trajectory now. So that piece of it is going pretty well, I think.
Mm-hmm. I guess seeing that has to make you feel good, that alumni, different organizations are given to the university, knowing, hey, they have a place, they serve a purpose, let's support them, not just in words, but in finances.
Yeah, well, yes, it's heartening, and it's the work of a lot of people. Some of it is work that I've done, but certainly some deans, our Southern University Foundation developed a strategic plan going back 5 or 6 years ago to get on this trajectory. I've been supportive of it, and we're going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. No, not long ago, in the university sent out the notice about enrollment. It's going up across the campuses, not just here in Baton Rouge. I want to say up 4 or 5% across the campuses. What do you account for that, to see that students, kids, parents still want their children to go to whether Susla, Suno, Southern University, the Ag Center, and eventually maybe even a law center afterwards as well?
Well, I think it's a multi-pronged approach. Number one, being much more present in recruiting students and getting the message about Southern out, to compete for some of the best prepared students out there that we've turned around, going in the right direction. But just as importantly, once they begin matriculating, working on making sure they make it through that process so that we don't lose them in the funnel. So every student that you recruit into your class as a freshman, the larger percentage of those that you can get moving forward and progressing, ultimately in 4 years, 6 years of graduating, that's a student you don't have to replace on the front end. So I think on both fronts we're doing significantly better, and probably on the verge of really making progress. This is the first year in quite some time that across the system enrollment has been up at Shreveport, Baton Rouge, and Suno.
I guess, and when I think of enrollment, I never thought about that, what you said. It's not just getting the incoming freshmen, but keeping the freshmen that are there, turning them into sophomores, turning them into juniors.
Why do we exist? Why does an institution like Southern University exist? It's not just to get them in the front door. It's to graduate them and get them out into their careers. One of the most heartening things about my experience at Southern is meeting the alumni from around the country who are profoundly inspired by their experience at Southern and know it equipped them for great success moving forward, which in sometimes, in many cases, it's a generational shift in the whole economic environment in which a family operates. When you become an engineer and go into a career that has six-figure salaries, that's not just you, that's your family, that's your community, and that's the difference that Southern University is making for our graduates. And the more of them that we get through that process, the more profound that impact becomes.
I was struck when the statement did come out. You were talking about the enrollment and being a good thing for the system, but a word you used, and it was like belong, and belonging to a higher education, belonging to an institution that will care for you and nurture you. I know and I would readily admit I'm one of those alumni that had that feeling of belonging and nurturing. I don't know if that's a statement you already had, but that word to me struck volumes when you see that.
Well, I come from pretty modest origins myself. I won't go into that. But one of the things that's clear to me is no one succeeds without the support and attention of others. I mean, this notion that you yank yourself up by your bootstraps and don't need anybody else, I think that's an extraordinary exception. At different points in your life when there are obstacles and people step in and do things like remind you, Dennis, you should go to class, right? Sometimes that's all it takes to say, oh, okay, I'll go to class. Or I have this issue, and they say, okay, let me help you figure that out. And I think historically at Southern, like a lot of HBCUs, that's where we've gone to get that kind of attention. And that's the sense that you get from, if you talk to our alumni, our graduates who are having great success, many of them they're very talented people, but come from modest means. And but for the opportunity and the support they got at Southern University, they wouldn't be the success they are now.
I'll pivot because you obviously we're talking about HBCUs and a product of one myself. We know why they were founded. There's still a place for them going forward, still a need for them going forward.
Oh, I think absolutely. So my history, I had a foster family I went to live with when I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And he was a product of an HBCU, College, Fisk University, and Meharry Medical School. In that era, he might not have had those opportunities, but more importantly, it created a community for him, not just while he was at those places, but afterwards. Because I remember traveling with him and meeting his peers from Fisk and Meharry. And so in the mid-60s, as a 7, 8, 9-year-old, I got this exposure to black excellence, okay? That's the role HBCUs still play. Because for many of us, but for HBCUs, those opportunities wouldn't be there. The opportunity to build that community that's committed to excellence it's not the only portal, but, still a significant number of African-American college graduates are produced out of a very small number of HBCUs. There's something over 3, maybe approaching 4,000 undergraduate institutions in the country. About 100 of them are HBCUs, and we're still producing 25, 30, 40% of the of the college graduates that are African American in this country.
Uh, we see a lot of construction going on campus, Baton Rouge campus, new STEM facility. I know Susla, I think, has a new rec center being built, nursing building down in New Orleans. What's driving that? How will those? I know a new building isn't going to make everything perfect, but how does those construction projects help grow the university, those institutions as a whole?
So if you go around the country and you look at universities, the ones that are prospering and moving forward, they all have construction going on. I'm proud to be a part of this, I think, historic moment for Southern University in that something approaching $350 million investment is being made in infrastructure, new capital infrastructure on the campuses. It sends a message. We're here, we're prospering, we're growing. You can come to school here and have the most modern facilities that every other places the competing schools have. It is a really remarkable moment, I think, for Southern, because you haven't seen this sort of investment in capital projects at one time, probably ever, but certainly not for several decades. And that's a result of some good work. Tribute to the Southern University Foundation that 5-6 years ago developed this master plan about addressing the facilities needs, to senior level staff that do facilities work. That one of the things when you get a state project in the pipeline, if you don't stay on it and move it down the tracks, then that money can go away. We've had extraordinary work by our facilities people to make sure those things stay on track. Investments, some of it's federal dollars, the new Welcome Center, the outdoor amphitheater, the new police station on the Baton Rouge campus, or at least in part funded by federal dollars. And so the wise stewardship of those dollars is moving those projects forward. But it's like I was talking earlier, no one is successful on their own. While I can take some satisfaction, those things have moved along on my watch. It's the effort and energy of a whole lot of people across the system, in the state legislature, governors, members of the Board of Supervisors, others who have, make sure those things move down the tracks. Yeah. You're never giving lawyer an open-ended question.
No, that's okay.
We'll prattle on.
I'm sure you hear this a lot because I know homecoming, my brother and sister, they're graduates. They come, oh, I don't remember this building. What's that building? What's going on over there? I'm like, I can't run through the whole list of construction projects going on, but I can tell you, I tell them that. And of course, they go in and
So there's a Welcome Center that's, front and center as you go past the football stadium. There's an outdoor amphitheater. It's beautiful. It's bell-shaped. Under construction now is a new STEM building that's coming. I think the police department new public safety building is done. We'll do a ribbon cutting sometime not too distant future. Coming down the tracks the next few months, new building for the business school, and around the same time, a new lab school. Those are the main projects that are going on the Baton Rouge campus. Hopefully, in the early spring, we'll break ground on a new residence hall, which is desperately needed, public-private partnership that we're developing that. The new nursing building at Suno, the new phys ed rec center at Susla. Those are the major projects. And there's been significant sort of deferred maintenance projects that are underway. So a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff, good stuff. What has it meant to be the president of the Southern University system?
Well, it's been an honor. Going back to my first connection with HBCUs and my first thought when, maybe 20 or so years ago, I thought I wanted to be university president. One of the kind of places I thought I might want to be is an HBCU. You see the students on the campus You see them when they arrive in the fall, and later this week we'll have commencement exercises. I'll see, hundreds of them walk across the stage with this significant achievement in their lives and the start of their careers. It's really been great to be a part of that here at Southern. You got to believe in that if you're in higher education. I know some places are research, one universities, a lot of other stuff going on, but the core of what Southern is about, what HBCUs are about, it's to be that portal to a greater future. And you see that when they're walking in the door, and you see them going out. You see them be successful in competitions with other schools, the esports. The band just was, selected as the #1 marching band in the country, beating Grambling in the Bayou Classic. I was 4-0. Okay,
That's on my.
but you see them go into business pitch competitions and do well and actually win significant money. I mean, some students got $10,000 apiece for winning their business competitions. You see the engineers going on to great things. So all of that stuff about the students is what it's all about, and especially at an HBCU.
Mm-hmm. What's next for Dennis? What's next for Dennis Shields?
Well, been at this for 44 years. I may just sit and think about that for a few months, and then sort of look into what the possibilities are. There are people telling me that I have more to contribute, and I'm like, let me rest and think about that. I'd like to think there's other things I can offer, but we'll see.
Yeah. You alluded to it. It was going to end on something light. 4-0 in the Bayou Classic. That has to count for something.
They knew they're in trouble. I wore the same suit all 4 times, my lucky suit. I've been asked to sort of leave that behind to continue that pattern, but I didn't make any passes or tackle anybody or block anybody, so I can't take a lot of credit other than my lucky suit.
Yeah, well, we certainly appreciate it. For my Grambling friends, I tell them there's only one Saturday in the fall that I want y'all to lose and lose bad. So,
well, it's a great institution. One of the thrills, being associated with Southern. I remember watching Doug Williams win the Super Bowl many years ago, and Bayou Classic and that kind of stuff gave me the opportunity to meet him. I grew up watching Bob Love play on the Chicago Bulls as a Southern alum, and Butterbean, being here and having the opportunity to meet those gentlemen has been a remarkable part of the experience.
Yeah. President Shields, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.